Be me, 47-year-old procurement manager at a regional hospital supply company. Live in a decent split level in the suburbs, worked my way up over 20 years. Divorced when the boys were 3 and 4, their father moved 3 states away, sends checks twice a month, like clockwork, but hasn't visited in years. Whatever, I've got this. Strong, independent woman and all that. My boys are my world. Tyler is 19 now. Marcus just turned 18 last month. Raised them right. Made sure they understood how the world really works. Started teaching them young, around 5 and 6, about how society is structured. Would explain during breakfast before kindergarten how some people have advantages they didn't earn. Told them they'd have to work extra hard to be good people because of what they were born as. They'd just nod and eat their cereal. Such sweet kids. As they got older, maybe 8 and 9, started really diving into the dinner table conversations. Every night, I'd pick a topic from the news. Wage gap, representation in boardrooms, street harassment statistics, domestic violence numbers. Would look at them and say, this is what we're up against. This is what your gender does. Tyler once asked me, but we don't do those things. And I had to explain that's not the point. The point is the system, the structure, the inherent nature of it all. Made sure they understood their responsibility even if they personally weren't doing harm. Had them write apology letters once a month starting around age 10. I'm sorry for the advantages I have that I didn't earn. I'm sorry for the harm people who look like me have caused. I will do better and check myself constantly. Put them on the fridge, took them down when new ones went up. Their dad didn't say anything about it the one time he visited for Tyler's 11th birthday. Just sat there, uncomfortable, whatever. He was part of the problem anyway. That's why we didn't work out. He couldn't handle a woman who saw through the bullshit. As they hit middle school, really ramped up the education. Would pause movies to point out toxic masculine behaviors. Superhero films were the worst. Had to explain how violence as conflict resolution was peak male socialization. They stopped asking to watch certain things after a while, which showed they were learning. Bought them books for birthdays and Christmas, carefully selected. Subscribed them to newsletters and youth discussion groups about examining privilege. Marcus asked once if he could join the baseball team in 7th grade. Had to sit him down and explain how team sports reinforce dominance hierarchies and aggressive male bonding. Suggested he try art club instead, more cooperative, less about conquest. He did art club for 1 semester, then said he wanted to focus on homework. Honestly, was proud he was taking academics seriously. High school was when things got really important for their development. Had them read essays at dinner, take turns, we'd discuss. Every single night, no exceptions, even when they had exams the next day. This was more important than test scores. This was their moral foundation. Tyler started getting quiet around 15, just reading his assigned sections and going to his room. Figured it was teenage stuff. He'd grow out of it. Marcus was always more compliant. Would nod along, occasionally ask clarifying questions. Thought I was getting through to him better. Made sure they understood dating dynamics before they showed interest in anyone. Sat them down at 13 and 14. Explained how consent works. How their size and strength made them inherently threatening. Told them any girl who dated them would be doing so from a disadvantaged position. They needed to constantly check themselves. Constantly make sure they weren't being coercive, even accidentally. Tyler said, "This makes it sound like we're predators no matter what we do." Had to explain, yes, that's the point. That's the awareness you need to carry. Neither of them dated in high school, which honestly was fine by me. They were too young anyway, and at least I knew they weren't out there harming anyone. Senior year for Tyler, junior year for Marcus, I really emphasized their crossroads moment. They'd be entering the world soon, they'd have opportunities others wouldn't have. Every job interview, they'd be seen as more competent than equally qualified women. Every college application, their names alone would carry weight that others didn't. Told them they needed to take half as much space as they wanted to, speak half as much as they thought appropriate, needed to be conscious always, vigilant, checking and rechecking their behavior. Tyler barely spoke at dinner by this point. Just read when it was his turn, ate, left. When he got accepted to state college 4 hours away, I was so proud. Told him how he'd need to be extra careful there, college campuses and all the harm that happens. He just said, "Okay, Mom," and went to his room. His 18th birthday was on a Saturday in September, just after his first week of classes. I'd assumed he'd commute. We'd talked about local schools. He'd applied to the state school on his own, apparently. Got some scholarship I didn't even know about. Plus financial aid since his dad's income was low enough in state. On his birthday, I made his favorite dinner, had a cake, got him books I thought he'd need. One about examining masculinity in academic spaces, one about being an ally in practice. He opened them, said thanks, then went to his room and came back with 2 duffel bags. I'm moving to campus tomorrow. I got a dorm room. Wait, what? We hadn't discussed this. He couldn't afford that. He explained the scholarship covered housing he'd been saving from his grocery store job for other expenses. You're not even going to stay here and commute? I'm right here. You'd save so much money. I need to be closer to campus, Mom. It's easier. Something felt off, but I helped him load his car the next day. Figured he'd be home weekends. He drove away, texted me he arrived safely. That was 3 months ago. He hasn't been back once. Says he's busy when I text, can't talk when I call. Came back to this in a minute because Marcus's situation broke me worse. Marcus was still at home for his senior year, quieter after Tyler left. I tried to do dinners with just us, same routine, read and discuss. He started doing homework during dinner, said he needed to multitask for AP classes. I allowed it because education is important. Asked him about college plans, he said he was looking at options. His 18th birthday was last month. Early November baby. Made the same effort, dinner, cake, presents. Got him a really important book about dismantling internalized superiority. He didn't even open it at the table, just looked at me and said, Mom, I'm enlisting. I leave for basic training in 2 weeks. I'm sorry, you're what? The military? The military? The most hierarchical, violent, masculine institution that exists? Started crying immediately, asking him how he could do this after everything I taught him. He just sat there, face blank, said, I've been planning this for a year, I'm contracted already. You're going to go kill people, oppress people overseas, be part of the war machine? I'm going to be a logistics specialist, Mom. I'll mostly be doing supply chain work. That's not the point, and he knows it. Begged him to reconsider. Told him he could go to community college, stay here, we'd work it out. I don't want to stay here. That hurt, but I pressed on, asked him to please just think about it. He said he'd been thinking about it for years. Those 2 weeks were hell. He was packing, organizing, going through paperwork, barely spoke to me except when necessary. I tried every night to have our discussions. He just said he was busy. Asked him if we could at least talk about why he was making this choice. I need structure, Mom. I need to be somewhere else. But I gave you structure, I gave you guidance. I taught you. I know what you taught me. He left on a Tuesday morning. A recruiter picked him up at 6 a.m. I hugged him. He sort of patted my back. You'll come back for Christmas after basic though, right? We'll see, Mom. He texted me when he got to the processing center, then nothing. Letters started coming. Generic stuff about training. I wrote back long emails about how proud I was that he was surviving it, how he should stay aware of the toxic environment. His responses got shorter. Doing fine. Training is hard, but managing. Made some friends. Tried calling Tyler more, now that I was alone in the house. He never picked up, would text back in class, or studying, or at work. Asked when he'd visit, he said maybe Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving came, he texted the morning of saying he was doing Friendsgiving with people from school. Ate a turkey sandwich alone, cried watching football I wasn't even interested in. Tried to call Marcus, straight to voicemail. Found out later the drill instructors take their phones for most of basic, but still. Christmas was worse. Tyler said he was staying at school, had a research assistant position that ran through break. I know for a fact freshmen don't get those positions. He was lying. Marcus got leave, but said he was going to visit his dad. His dad, who he hasn't seen in person in 7 years. Begged him to come home for even a day. I'd drive to meet him halfway. I only have a week, Mom. I need to use it wisely. Felt like a knife. Spent Christmas Day looking at photos from when they were little, Tyler gap-toothed in a Halloween costume, Marcus learning to ride a bike. Both of them at the kitchen table, maybe 9 and 10, writing something I'd assigned. Couldn't remember what it was for, just remembered they'd been so good about it. Tried to call both of them, Tyler declined. Marcus didn't even ring. Sent long texts about how much I missed them, how I wanted to see them. Tyler responded 2 days later. Sorry, Mom, really busy with school stuff. Marcus didn't respond at all. New Year's came and went. Started realizing this wasn't a phase. They weren't coming back. Tried to think about what could have driven them away. I gave them everything. I taught them everything they needed to know. Raised them alone, worked full-time, still made sure they had moral guidance every single day. Made their lunches with notes about being good humans. Drove them to school and appointments and activities I approved of. Was there for every report card, every parent-teacher conference. Sure, I was strict about the discussions, but that was important. How else would they learn? How else would they understand their place in the world, their responsibilities? Started seeing a therapist in January, had to talk to someone. Told her the whole story, how I'd raised them consciously, how they'd abandoned me. She asked a lot of questions about the dinner table discussions. How often, how long, what topics, how they responded. Tried to explain these were necessary, these were vital to their development. Did they ever express that they didn't want to have these conversations? Well, yes. Sometimes, when they were younger, they'd complain. But kids complain about homework too. Doesn't mean it's not necessary. How did you respond when they achieved things? Sports, academics, friendships? Praised them, of course, but also reminded them about the context of their advantages. Couldn't let them get complacent or unaware. Therapist got quiet, wrote something down. Do you think they might have experienced that as conditional love? What? No. I loved them unconditionally. They were my babies. Everything I did was because I loved them. I wanted them to be good men, safe men, aware men. Better than their father. Better than the men on the news. Better than the statistics. Did you ever tell them you were proud of them just for being themselves? I told them I was proud when they showed growth, when they demonstrated awareness. Isn't that the same thing? Started going through my phone, reading back through years of texts. Mostly me sending them articles, asking if they'd read them. Them responding okay or got it, or just thumbs up emoji. Me sending reminders about behaviors to check, thoughts to examine. Them responding less and less as they got older. Found a string from Tyler's 16th birthday. Me. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Remember, you're another year closer to being a man in society's eyes. Big responsibility. Him. Thanks, Mom. That was it. Why didn't I say more? Why didn't I just say I loved him? I did, though. I said, sweetheart. That's affection. Wait. Went back through years of texts. Searched for I love you. I'd sent it, scattered here and there, usually after longer messages about expectations. Remember to check yourself constantly. Love you. Make sure you're reading that essay I sent. Love you. They'd almost never sent it back. Few times when they were younger, then nothing after age 13 or so. Started having panic attacks in February. The house was so quiet. Their rooms were exactly as they'd left them. Tyler's with his bed made. Everything neat. Books I'd given him on the shelf unread. Marcus's more cluttered. Some posters he'd put up of bands I didn't recognize. Would go in there at night and just sit. Where did I go wrong? I did everything right, didn't I? Protected them from toxic influences. Gave them framework. Taught them responsibility. Tried to call Tyler again. It rang this time. He picked up. Mom, I'm in the middle of something. Tyler, baby, please. Can we just talk? I miss you so much. Look, I'm really busy with midterms. After midterms, then? You could come home for a weekend? Silence on the line. Could hear him breathing. I don't think so, Mom. Why not? Please, just tell me why. More silence. I need to go. I'm meeting my study group. Tyler, wait. He hung up. Tried calling back. Declined. Sent texts. Seen but not responded to. Tried Marcus. Number was disconnected. Fully disconnected. Not just straight to voicemail. He'd changed his number and didn't tell me. Emailed him at his military email. Bounced back. He must have shut down the family one. Probably had a new one I didn't have. Realized I had no way to contact my younger son. No way at all. He'd cut me off completely. Started drinking wine at dinner. Alone at the table where we used to sit. Used to read articles out loud to empty chairs like a crazy person. Then stopped. What was the point? Coworker asked me how my boys were doing. I said fine, great, thriving. Lied through my teeth, because what else could I say? They've abandoned me after I dedicated my life to raising them correctly. My whole identity was being their mother. The conscious mother, the aware mother. The one who wouldn't raise another generation of unexamined men. And they were gone. Both of them, just gone. Tyler's 20th birthday came in September. Sent him a text, long one, about how I was thinking of him. How I remembered when he was born. How tiny he was. How he'd grab my finger. How I'd made a promise then to raise him right, to make him good. How I hoped he was well. How I wanted to see him. Thanks, Mom. Doing fine. That was all I got. Asked if he'd be coming home for Thanksgiving this year. Probably not. Got plans. Asked about Christmas. We'll see. We'll see means no. I've learnt that. Marcus's 19th birthday. Sent a card to his dad's address. Figured he might be visiting again. It came back returned to sender. He wasn't there, or he was, and refused it. My baby boy refused my birthday card. Sat on the kitchen floor and sobbed. The realization was setting in, the real one. They weren't taking a break from me. They weren't busy with life transitions. They were done. They'd left the second they legally could, and they were never coming back. Started thinking about all those dinners, really thinking. Tyler at 7, asking if he could just eat without talking tonight because he was tired. Me saying no, this is important, we do this every night. Marcus at 9, asking if he was a bad person. Me explaining no, but he had to be aware of what he could become. Both of them at 12 and 13, quiet, just reading their sections and eating. Me thinking they were learning, internalizing, growing. What if they were just enduring? Tyler at 15, getting an award at school for a science project. Me congratulating him, but reminding him his teachers probably had lower standards for him, that he should work twice as hard to make sure he actually deserved recognition. His face falling, just a little. Marcus at 16, coming home excited about something, I forget what. Me asking if he'd read the article I'd sent about male overconfidence. Him saying no, he'd been busy. Me disappointed, asking what could be more important than understanding his position in the world. Him going to his room without telling me what he'd been excited about. I thought I was helping. Every single day, every single conversation shaped around making them aware, making them responsible, making them carry the weight I thought they needed to carry. They were just kids. They were just my kids. And I made them apologize for existing from the time they could write. Put those letters on the fridge like they were achievements. Forced them to read about atrocities and violations every night at dinner. Told them they were inherently dangerous, inherently advantaged, inherently part of the problem. From ages 5 and 6. Babies, they were babies. And I made sure they knew I saw them as representatives of everything wrong in the world. Not as themselves. Not as Tyler, who loved dinosaurs and was scared of thunder. Not as Marcus, who drew elaborate mazes and laughed at stupid jokes. As boys, as males, as future men who needed to be fixed before they could be loved fully. The panic attacks got worse. Called out of work for a week. HR got involved. Very concerned. I'd never missed days before. Told them family emergency. Not entirely a lie. Spent the week going through photo albums. Hundreds of pictures of the boys growing up. Me smiling with them at the zoo, at parks, at home. When did I stop smiling like that? When did they stop smiling like that? Found a picture from Marcus's 14th birthday. All 3 of us. I'm smiling at the camera. They're both smiling, but it doesn't reach their eyes. They look tired. My babies look tired in their birthday photo. Tried one more time to reach out to Tyler in March. Long email, pages and pages. Apologizing, explaining, begging. Told him I understood I'd been too hard on them maybe. That I just wanted them to be good people. That I loved them more than anything. That I missed them every day. That the house was too quiet and I couldn't stand it. That I was sorry if I'd hurt them. I never meant to hurt them. He responded 3 days later. Mom, I appreciate the email. I'm doing well at school. I need space right now. Please respect that. Space. He needed space from me, his own mother. Tried to respect it, lasted 2 weeks before calling again. He blocked my number. My own son blocked my number. Tried from work phone. He picked up, not recognizing it. Tyler, please don't hang up. Silence, then a sigh. Mom, I asked for space. I need to understand, please, just tell me what I did wrong. You really don't know? I raised you the best way I knew how. I taught you. You taught us we were born wrong, Mom, every single day, our entire lives. That's not... I was teaching you awareness, responsibility. We were kids. We were little kids, and you made us apologize for being born. I never... The letters, Mom, the letters on the fridge. I'm sorry for being male. I was 10. Started crying. Couldn't help it. I wanted you to be better. To be different. We couldn't just be. We had to constantly perform being acceptable to you, and we never were. Nothing we did was ever enough because we were boys. I loved you. I love you. You loved who you were trying to make us into. You didn't love us. The line went dead. He'd hung up. Tried calling back from work phone. He'd blocked that too. That was 4 months ago. It's July now. Tyler will be 21 in 2 months. I don't know where Marcus is, what he's doing, if he's safe. Haven't heard his voice in over a year. The house is paid off. My job is stable. I have everything I worked for. And I'm completely alone. Started seeing the therapist twice a week. She's helping me understand, slowly, painfully, how I took my fear of the world and put it on them. How I made them responsible for things they had no control over. How I never just let them be children, be themselves. How every interaction was a lesson, a warning, a reminder of what they represented to me. Not who they were. Asked her if I can fix it, if they'll ever forgive me, If I'll ever see them again, she said she doesn't know. That I can work on myself, understand what I did, change. But I can't control whether they ever want me in their lives again, and based on what I've told her, she'd understand if they didn't. That hurt more than anything. My own therapist saying she'd understand my children never speaking to me again because of what I did to them every day for 13 years. Wrote letters to both of them, actual paper letters. Apologizing, really apologizing. Not, I'm sorry if you were hurt, but I'm sorry I hurt you. Explaining that I was wrong, so wrong, that they never needed to apologize for being born, that they were perfect, and I should have told them that I let my anger at the world become anger at them, that they deserved a mother who saw them as people, as her sons, not as representations of a gender, that I loved them, always loved them, even though I showed it so poorly, that I understood if they never wanted to see me again, that I would respect that, but that if they ever did, I would be here, a different person, a better person, but here. Sent them to Tyler's dorm, they came back undeliverable. He'd moved. Of course he'd moved. Tried his dad's address for Marcus, same result. They're out there somewhere, both of them, living lives I know nothing about. Maybe they're happy. God, I hope they're happy. Hope they found people who love them for who they are. Hope they're not carrying around the weight I put on them. Hope they've forgiven themselves for being born, since I made them think they needed to. I'm alone in this house. Consequence of my own actions. The great irony is, I thought I was doing everything right. Thought I was the enlightened one, the aware one, raising sons who would be different, better. Instead, I raised sons who can't stand to be in the same state as me, who changed their numbers, who blocked me, who left the second they turned 18 and never looked back. Sometimes I set the table for 3 out of habit. Then I remember, and I put the extra plates away, and I eat alone, trying to figure out how to live with what I've done. How to be a person when my entire identity was being their mother, and I'm not even that anymore. They have no mother. They chose to have no mother rather than have me. That's what I did. That's who I was to them. Worse than absent. Worse than neglectful. I was there every day making sure they knew they were wrong, and now they're gone. And I'm here, and the house is so quiet, and I deserve every second of this silence.